Really?
I think ranking wise. I don't think anything else wise.
And we're live. And welcome to another episode of Rankum. This is going to be a really fun episode because we're talking about Pixar movies, and I've probably got a whole bunch of varying different opinions of Pixar movies on the panel. Some people like Cars, some people don't like Up. So I'm not going to say who is who, but you might be able to figure out one of them. But anyway, my panel I've got here today, I've got Kaleb Bowman. Kaleb, how's it going?
Hi, I am here for this bloodbath, and it's going to be interesting. At the end of the day, either Kaleb Koho or Cody Newberry is going to try to murder me. Which one? Tune in to find out.
And also we've got Cody here. Cody, how's it going?
It's fantastic. Three people on this list could probably remember maybe seeing at least one of the two Toy Stories in theaters. The other had to wait for it to come on DVD to watch it probably for the first time. So that's disgusting. But it's okay. I should have just canceled my appearance because I think this episode is just going to make me really, really mad. So we'll see what happens.
And also on the list we've got the number one fan of Cars. It's Kaleb Koho. Kaleb, how's it going?
Good. Last time me, Boatman, and Cody were on a list. Me and Cody tried to get Robin Wright from Forrest Gump on the top 10 worst villains of all time list, and Boatman tried to put the third man on. So hey, let's remember those good old days.
That was pretty great.
And last but not least, we've got the host of Late Night Take 3, Brooklyn Vale. Brooklyn, how's it going?
Somewhat the host of Late Night Take 3. I've been AMA the last little bit. But yeah, I'm excited for this list. I believe that there are many different roles for the Pixar movie list. You have there is a purist on this panel, there is a hipster on this panel, and there is a troll on this panel. We got to figure out who is the purist, who is the hipster, and who is that troll. I already know who they are, but it'll be revealed very soon.
I'm not sure who I am.
I wonder.
I guarantee I know who I am, so it's fine.
I know who I am.
And I'm pretty sure he wasn't referring to me at all on that.
No, you weren't one of them.
But as how the show works is we do a roundtable discussion each Friday movie that we believe should be on the top 12 Pixar movies list, and then we all vote on it, and if it gets 3 votes, then it makes it on. And to kick it off, I'm going to go to Kaleb Boatman.
Okay. I could, go with something a little bit more different, but I'll just start out with, I think, one that everyone's going to say yes to. Cody, why are you acting like that already?
Am I right?
I'm throwing out The Incredibles. That's what I'm throwing out. I think it's a fantastic film. I think, it's the best Fantastic Four film we've ever had. I mean, that's kind of a joke, but it's pretty true. I think it understands the family dynamics. I think it has Pixar's best villain with Syndrome, voiced by Jason Lee. I think it's fantastic. There's a reason everyone was clamoring for a sequel. It's great.
I'm going to kick it off, and I'm saying yes because it's The Incredibles, and it's yes. Cody, what do you say about The Incredibles?
There should be 8 of these movies that should be like, yep, let's not waste a lot of time, and this is definitely one of them. Again, it's the one that made me laugh out the loudest in theaters the first time is Elastigirl and Mr. Incredible. Got it on! It was fantastic. It was funny. Yes, it's great.
And Kaleb, what do you say about The Incredibles?
To this day, I believe The Incredibles is the only superhero film to be nominated for Best Original Screenplay, which is a testament to Brad Bird's story that he wrote, down to the fact that the island is called No Man is an Island. Sorry, I love the little nuances in the story. That's an absolute yes. The Incredibles is brilliant.
And Brooklyn, what would you have said about The Incredibles?
It is the greatest Fantastic Four movie ever made. I'm sure I sound like a broken record whenever I say that. I mean, Bob Parr, Elastigirl, Jack. Where is my super suit? one of the greatest Pixar, actually one of the greatest animated dialogue ever. Is that whole super suit scene. So yeah.
But Incredibles makes the list. Cody, it's up to you for your first nomination.
So yeah, I'll just keep the trend going. I don't have any like whoa crazy picks on here. I just have the correct pick. I'm going with Monsters Inc. Billy Crystal and John Goodman. This is when you thought about it, as Toy Story was their main two, and then they had Bug's Life, but then this movie came out, and it literally, they had the world building they built in this movie is insane. If you think about it back then, before they had any other property set out, this was it, and like the human and the scary world, like that's mixing, and like the dark elements in this movie, there's a lot of dark elements, and they capture all of them, and it's really, really good. So yeah, Monsters Inc.
Koho, what do you say about Monsters Inc?
This to the date is my favorite like Pixar teaser to hype up the movie. When Mike and Sully go into the kids' room and it instantly sets that chemistry where he's like, "Oh, with the ring and the woo, I'm a planet." Just sets up the chemistry for the two, and that whole movie lived up to that. I love those two so much. So yeah, Monsters Inc. on the list.
Do you remember that when you were 3 years old?
I
believe he was a gleam in the stalker's
older.
eye. Whatever that
He was
is.
one. He was one.
I was like 1 or 2. Yeah.
Oh, so that was just a fantastic teaser. I'm glad it got you in the theater. God.
Okay.
Brooklyn, what do you say about Monsters Inc?
So Monsters Inc. is actually probably the greatest score of a Pixar movie, considering there's a movie that we'll definitely be talking about later. But yeah, it's a great casting, great writing. I love the villain. Steve Buscemi's fun as Randall. It's very dynamic, but it has that like bureaucracy sort of like office in jokes that is also very humorous. So Monsters Inc. gets a definite yes from me.
Boatman, what would you have said to Monsters Inc?
Oh, I don't know. What would I have said about Monsters Inc? Yes to Monsters Inc.
Yeah, it would have been a yes for me. I love Monsters Inc. It's in my own personal top 12, so it's making the list. Koho, what is the first nomination?
Listen, if I don't throw this out now, we probably don't get a chance to get on the list later. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to make a case for the most underrated Pixar movie of all time, and that is Cars. Cars is a beautiful story about slowing down and enjoying life, and also about knowing your roots at old Americana. There's a lot of great elements to this. I grew up in a small town, so like I live in a Radiator Springs. So I love seeing that kind of representation on the big screen. Sure, Mater can be an annoying fuck. I get it. Okay, I get it. But I think the story of Cars is so greatly overlooked that it's really disappointing. I think Cars is a great cast, a great town, and a great story that they have there. Sure, say whatever you want about the sequels, but I think that first film is legitimately good.
I know this isn't your style, but I know this is going to be split between the other three. And I think you made a grave mistake. You wait until some other greats get taken no votes before you throw one that you won in the 12th spot, guys. Like, we haven't said no to anything yet. Monsters Inc. and Incredibles are the only two on the list right now. We don't know what else is going to say no, so you threw your shot way too early on this. There are some great choices that could get yes votes now. So I have to say no because there are too many good ones remaining to say yes to this one now to take a spot that could something could miss. So absolutely not. That's too early. That's too early. That's way too early.
No, it's not.
I mean, I believe
it was Toy Story on the list. There's not even one Toy Story on the list.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, at least 2 of them will get later. We have a lot of spots left. Taking one now is no different than taking one later.
I mean,
absolutely wrong.
I mean, I believe it was Alexander Hamilton that said something about taking shots, but
you are correct.
He threw away his shot. That's a fact.
But yeah, there's only 5 Pixar movies I've actually never seen. The entire Cars trilogy is 3 of them. So
wow.
yeah. I mean, they're on my list to watch. I just haven't got around to them yet. Brooklyn,
they're
what do you
wasted.
say about Cars?
So this might get me lowered on Cody's Christmas card.
I will
importance.
vote for whatever you want if you say no to this.
That's not how
Whatever you
Rankum
want.
works. That's
Yes,
not
it
what
does.
Rankum works.
My
No, it
yes
doesn't.
works. My yes works. You went behind the scenes messaging people to say good. I will vote for whatever you want, Brooklyn. Whatever. Say it, and I'll say yes to it next time you put it up. Anything you think I'm going to question me, say no, I'll say yes. If you say no to this one right now. Shh. Same goes for Boatman. The offers on both.
Hey, guess
tables
what?
are
I got
legal.
$12 Venmo for both of you right now. How's that? If you're gonna go with bribery of picks, I'll go with bribery of physical
$6
cash.
Canadian. That's $6 Canadian. Just to let you know. I'll throw 25.
I'll make it 30. Fuck you.
I go 150.
Here's the thing. When I was making this list, Cars was in like that 12, 13 spot. So it's between that one and another one. And as I sit here, as much as I love Cars, as much as I love the cast, I don't know if it's in the top 12.
Make 13.
Literally on your top 12.
It's painstaking. I'll say no. It's hard. Man, it's hard to say no.
And
Hey,
Boatman,
Corey, your list
what
sucks.
would you
Just got
agree?
canceled. Just saying.
You don't have any control on that. Thank you.
Watch me.
Oh, bro.
Thank you.
Cody was exactly right. You made a dumb
Yes.
move.
Yeah.
There are a couple movies that I told you specifically, I was not sure if they were going to make it on, and that's why I would be voting Cars, and you didn't give any of them time to say no to them. So now, like, I can't, if I say yes to Cars, I'm saying no to the films that I have above it. Cars, look, I will say this about Cars. I don't think the first Cars deserves as much hate as it gets. I think that if it wasn't for the second one, I don't think it would be getting as much hate. I think a lot of people will put the hate from the second one onto the first one. But I can't give a yes to it because you did it too early, Koho. What is wrong with
If something would have got voted off my list, Cars is the 13th spot. I would have okay with it, but I'm not going to say okay when I don't know what's being known.
Yeah.
And with that, Cars does not make the list. Brooklyn, what is your next first nomination?
All right, so I believe this is one of the 8 that Cody's referring to. This is yes, we have to move on. Let's talk about Inside Out, one of the saddest animated movies ever. This is a movie. This is one of the few movies that I've watched once and will only watch once. It is very melancholic. The time that I watched it, about 20 minutes in, I was like, okay, I know where this is going. So it's just a matter of like, it's getting to that moment, and for me, it's that tension. It's that tension of like. Of them getting to it, and it's to boil it down. It's about accepting sadness into your life, and as somebody who struggles with depression and anxiety, it's a very touching movie. Considering when I watched it in the time of my life, it's a movie that I feel everybody needs to watch, and it's a movie, especially in this time of age where mental health is something like on the rise, and it's more aware. People are being more open and upfront about it. It's a movie that everybody needs to see, and I think it is a classic.
I mean, I do disagree with it being the saddest animated movie of all time. I do think there is more sadder ones out there. But that being said, I do love Inside Out. It's going to be yes for me anyway. Boatman, what do you say about Inside Out?
The writing on Inside Out is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It understands the way we think, the way we work. It's fantastic. Like, people have said, oh, it's like Herman's Head. It's like Osmosis Jones. It's like all these other things. And I get that. But this does it better. Does it the best version of that concept, of the emotions, the people, things going inside your best of that concept. It's the most realized, the most clever, it's the most, for lack of a better word, emotional. Inside Out definitely gets a yes.
And with that, Inside Out makes the list. Koho, what would you have said?
Fuck Inside Out. Fuck this movie. This is literally what I think is the most pretentious, overrated Pixar movie ever made. I walked out of it going, really? I walked out of it going, cool, that's nice. Oh, that's a movie that I've seen. I will never watch it again. I have no intention of ever needing to watch it again. I really don't care about this movie. People jerk it off way too much. I'm done with this movie.
Cody, what would you have said about Inside Out?
The guy that just nominated Cars says that about freaking Inside Out. Maybe if you were the same age when Inside Out was, it'd be the best Pixar movie ever, but it wasn't. I don't think it's.
I'm not 12 like Boatman.
I'm older than you.
He's older than. What is going on?
That's not true.
Okay. Anyways,
Not true.
I don't think this is a surefire in the top 8. But I think it's a guarantee on the list. I think I could have understood if somebody. I think this movie has very bad rewatchability. But as I've talked to Brooklyn before, he won't. Is this the one you will never watch again? You're muted again. Your mic goes out in and out. But I don't think. I think he's told me like he'll never go watch this again because of the simple fact of the emotional impact. And I wish I was in that state when I watched it, because when I watched it and when I walked out, I was like, this movie wrecked me. And then when I went back and watched it, it loses everything it sets up because you know what's coming. So, but I think this movie is brilliant. Again, I'm a big person in Pixar. When you can build a world like that and keep me entertained the entire way through and show human elements, it's not the saddest Pixar movie ever or animated movie ever. No, a brother kills his brother and kills him, and his son has to watch it. That's sad. Not Bing Bong, but it's pretty, So yes, this is a good one. It just, I wish I would have never rewatched it.
But with that, it's down to me for my first nomination, and I spend a lot of time trying to find my first nomination, but then I found Nemo. But yeah, Finding Nemo is going to be my first nomination.
Oof.
I want to say no just because of how bad
Exactly.
But yeah, this is one that I would think is a really good movie. It's just one of those ones of a father trying to find his son after son just runs off, and just one of those ones that I didn't expect to see from Pixar. Not really, but this was actually the first Pixar movie I saw before I actually saw Toy Story. So this is one of those ones which does resonate with me a lot. And this is one that I've rewatched probably the most times out of all of them. But Boatman, what do you say about Finding Nemo?
Finding Nemo, the original is fantastic. It, side character gets the down. It's a story that you don't really see in animated films, which is from the perspective of the father. Like usually it's about more about the kids, but really the main lesson is for the father, which is very, very interesting, I find. And yeah, it really understands the character. The character like Dory could be really annoying, but they made Dory work really well in that movie. And yeah, I think it just understands all these great characters and makes them work.
Cody, what do you say about Finding Nemo?
As much as I hate the sequel, I absolutely love this movie. This movie is brilliant. Takes a concept that's really out there and makes it so much fun. I think from the fish tank to the journey itself, it was just fantastic. So yeah. This is another one that's a surefire. Yes. I figured for Malcolm, as many times as I've been on this show, I thought Good Dinosaur was coming for a second, but I'm really happy you changed it and made a really good decision with Finding Nemo.
Good Dinosaur is one of the other ones I've not seen yet. But Koho, what would you have said about Finding Nemo?
Dodoy, move on. This is obviously on the list. This is a great movie.
Oh, it's not pretentious? Okay.
Brooklyn, what would you have said about Finding Nemo?
I will say I am going to say yes, but I do understand why people if somebody comes to me and was like, Finding Nemo is in my jam, and it's like, all right, I understand that. But I think there's a great like it's almost like chapters almost where you get different people that he encounters with, like with Crush, and then you have like Finn and Flo and the pufferfish and Sharkbait, like that whole introduction of Nemo sort of joining into this different culture, not different culture, but just different group of people. And I find those aspects interesting, not so much Marlon and Dory, but it's everything else that I love about it.
It is kind of a great road trip movie, though, when you think about it.
Yeah.
But with that, we go back full circle round to Boatman. Boatman, what is your next nomination?
My next nomination is my all-time favorite Pixar movie. It is the fantastic Ratatouille. I think this is probably the most artistic Pixar movie. I think has my favorite score. I think I love the kind of journey that Remy takes throughout the whole film. I think it's just absolutely wonderful. It's about, that it kind of hits on the same points that like Whiplash does in a weird way, where it's about that what do you sacrifice when following your creative kind of desires? And, when that clashes with your family and all that. Obviously, it doesn't go as far with Whiplash, but I think it kind of hits on the same point. Same with like Coco and like that. So I think Ratatouille is fantastic, and it should definitely make the list.
Somewhere in Florida, Evan DeGraaf just perked his head up at the mention of Ratatouille. Cody, what do you say about Ratatouille?
Yeah, Ratatouille. It's good. It's a very, very good Pixar movie. The people that put it up at the top is confusing to me. I don't hate the decision. It's just I just don't gravitate to it as much. I think you have to. I think it's a lot of kid elements in that one. Like literally, there's a rat that cooks. But I think there's a lot of stuff that goes with it that's beautiful, and like the score. I think this is Pixar's best score, and it's no shot at Monsters Inc. I'm just saying the score literally becomes its own thing. It's kind of what I feel in Guardians of the Galaxy. The soundtrack becomes a character. Like this is what it is. But there's a lot of parts in that I just roll my eyes, and there's a lot of like slow points in this that I don't know why kids like stay around to it. So yes, Ratatouille is great. I just don't think it's the best.
Was that a yes, Cody, or no?
Yeah, it's a yes. It's a yes.
That was
it's
a yes.
definitely a top 12. It's 100%.
Yeah, I just thought I'd check
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah, you're good.
But and with that, Ratatouille does make the list. Wait, Koho, what do you say about Ratatouille?
Well, now
you
can say now that it makes the list. I think this is the best Pixar movie. I think it's the most, like Bowen said, the most artistic. I think it's the tightest screenplay that they've written. I think it has it has the best score. I honestly think that on every level, Ratatouille is the peak of what Pixar can do. With storytelling, with every aspect of film. This is the first Pixar movie for me that transcends being a Pixar animated movie and just being a great film. And I think Brad Bird does a great job of putting it in that direction and telling the story that he wanted to do without sacrificing anything creatively. So yeah, I put Ratatouille at number 1.
Oh, number 1 already. Good job.
I put Ratatouille at number 1, and of course it makes the list.
We all know where to vote it.
And what would you have said about Ratatouille?
In theory, this should be a movie that I absolutely adore and talk praises of. I think this is one of the most overrated movies ever. They get a lot of things right in the culinary world, but it has to be interesting. I just don't attach to any of the characters. And this is what we call a bottom feeder. And I might die on this hill.
Whoa.
I'll die.
Brooklyn and I hate each other's favorites. That's hilarious.
Yeah, Ratatouille would have been is a yes for me. This is one I really do enjoy, and Patton Oswalt does a good job as maybe like the voice cast. This is pretty great, and it's just one of those ones which is really good. But yeah. Cody, it's back to you.
Okay. Well, we went a little bit. We've had fun. The journey was fun. We've ticked people off. We've had good laughs. Now it's time for the one. I'm going Toy Story 2. It's by far my favorite Toy Story. Just because of what it sets up. And I get there's a lot of younger demographics that don't like Toy Stories as much as somebody that grew up. But I was the same age as Andy when Andy was pretty much around that same time frame of when he got his toys and when he dropped them off at college. It was almost in sync, and it was crazy. And I think Inside Out kind of steals a moment from Toy Story 2, as especially when Jessie is left under the bed. It's that forgotten toy. It's that put aside, and you see the heartbreak between Jessie. The reason why 2 is better than all of them for me is because 1 sets up it, 2 cashes in on it and builds up the world, and 3 cashes in on it and makes the money that they need to because of the build up with the franchise. 2 has one of the most heartbreaking songs in it. One of the most villainous characters that you can see coming, but also is like when it happens, it hurts almost. Introduces great characters like Bullseye and Jessie throughout the character. You get Zurg, you get Buzz's inner demon battles, and the adventure gets bigger. So Toy Story 2 is by far my favorite. So I'm going to go with Toy Story 2.
Yeah, and Toy Story 2 is also my favorite of the Toy Story movies, and it's definitely yes for me. And one thing I liked about this one that is you find out more about Woody and sort of his life with the introduction of Bullseye, Jessie, and all that. And that's something which I found, because I mean, the first one was probably more about Buzz sort of fitting in with the toys. The second one was about sort of Woody finding himself and finding his sort of place as well. So I mean, it does make a really good way of doing that. And 4, I don't know. I've heard good things about it, but is it necessary? Probably not, but we'll find out. But Brooklyn, what do you say about Toy Story 2?
I completely agree with Cody Newberry. I believe this is the best of the Toy Stories. I like how they explore the different characters. And I'm going to use an analogy that Cody hates. This is like a really good burger on how there's different flavors that you can get in every bite. Like you have the serious moment of She Loves Me. You have that sort of artistic, like sort of indie approach with how Woody, like the whole scene of like Woody getting his arm picked. I find that really interesting. There's some spoof elements here, like when you think about Buzz and Zurg's meeting near the end of it. That's essentially a spoof of The Empire Strikes Back. So I think that's why I love it as well. And it's very quotable. And sweet Jeebus Kelsey Grammer is a very, very talented voice actor in terms of playing envious villains like Sideshow Bob, and in here as Prospector Beast.
And with that, Toy Story 2 makes the list. Koho, what would you have said?
Yeah, I love the Toy Story movies. Toy Story 2, I think, is the best one. The other day, my parents were watching it in the other room. I walked in. When She Loved Me started playing, I turned around and walked out because I emotionally couldn't handle it. And then came back and watched the rest of the movie. I think it's got some of the most interesting and fun set pieces in an animated movie, using with toys in a toy store, toys on an elevator, toys in an airport. Like, there's a lot of really great sets of scenery that like play into the story. I absolutely love the 2 Buzzes and Tim Allen's performance in the movie where he's sitting there and he's just like, don't tell me I was actually this naive. I love the movie. So yes, absolutely.
And Boatman, what would you have said about Toy Story 2?
I'm surprised that we all seem to agree that Toy Story 2 is the best Toy Story movie. I think that, yeah, it's also definitely the best. I think it gets the emotional elements the best out of the 3. I think it gets the ideas and concepts the best of the 3. And I think it gets the comedy the best out of the 3. I think those are the 3 most important elements in a Toy Story movie. And I think it does those the best out of all 3 of the Toy Story movies. So definite yes.
That's very impressive that all 5 of us have the exact same opinion, because that is a huge divided topic.
I remember there was a Full Metal 5 whenever I first joined this community, and I nominated Toy Story 2, and it got fuck knows that I was told that it was the worst of the trilogy, and I'm glad that there are intelligent, educated people.
I think as time has gone on, Toy Story 2 has become more appreciated post Toy Story 3.
Yeah. And we've got Tim Smith in the chat who says Toy Story 2 is greater than the Cars franchise.
Oh, that's a fact.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's
That's
like
just like
saying
that's just
a
rubbing
cookie.
That is a fact.
That's like saying a cookie is better than drinking bleach.
Anyway, talking about the Cars
Whoa.
franchise,
Whoa.
Koho, what's your next
Whoa.
nomination?
Moment. The first movie is not Bleach. The second movie is Bleach, and the third movie is better than Bleach. Like it's a high class Bleach.
Unless you're a minister from the South and you try to sell it as mineral. There was a big scam of a preacher trying to sell essentially Javex as this thing that cures cancer, and they in Nigeria they actually sold us.
Anyway,
that was an interesting sidebar. Let's talk about Coco. All right, so Coco I think is the best Pixar movie in recent years. In the 2010s decade, I think Coco is the closest to what Pixar was in the 2000s, which I think was when Pixar was at their peak, when they were the most ingenuitive, coming up with a lot of great concepts. I think Coco tapped into that. It's a really heartwarming story. It's a lot darker than I expected it. The music is great, and I think the characters of like Ernesto de la Cruz and Hector and Miguel are so well rounded and fleshed out that it's watching something more than a kid's movie. It's watching something special before your eyes. So I'm putting Coco on the list.
and Boatman, what do you say about Coco?
Yeah, Coco. It's one of those eight. It's on the list. Let's move on.
Cody, what do you say about Coco?
Coco's the one I had no expectations for when I saw it in theaters. The trailers never sold me on it. I didn't think it was a very good marketing strategy. I thought it was the Book of Life, just Pixar edition. And this movie wrecked me. This movie, really wrecked me. I think it is beautiful. I think it's probably up there with Good Dinosaurs, the most beautifully looking Pixar movie, just because of the technology that they have now. But this movie is a brilliant, and it is slowly, it just jumps super high on my list every time I watch it. I'm afraid to watch it again just to see if it goes even higher, because this movie is brilliant.
With that, Coco makes the list. Brooklyn, what do you say?
This would have gotten a fuck yes. Just very quickly. I love how Coco takes death and brings it into a kids movie and talks about death and it, for me, to no surprise to anybody here, it uses music as a way to sort of cope with death, and it essentially says music is this really good drug, and it's just how it makes you feel good. It helps you deal with sadness, and it's what I love. What I love about music and how it affects you emotionally, and I think they do a really good job of talking about it.
Well, for me, Coco is the one that I think is pretty overrated. I like it just fine. It's not as, I don't think it's as good as people make it out to be. I mean, I said it about the song "Remember Me" last week. I barely remember that song, and some of the songs, there's a few good songs in there. I just don't think the movie as a whole is very memorable. But
okay.
But anyway,
Guys, movie 43 is a masterpiece, guys.
But
and
anyway,
here we go. Okay, so Cody, this is when I'm cashing in that yes vote. We're gonna talk about Bug's Life. This is a movie that I actually watched for this list. I had not seen it before, and I think it actually holds up both visually, and I like the story. Yes, it's a loose sort of telling of Seven Samurai, but I didn't have a whole lot of expectations going into it, and I think it's pretty good. Dave Foster is probably the least of least of my favorite performances in that, but like Christopher Plummer is really good as the grasshopper. I'm really sold on all the circus animals. P.T. Flea is hilarious. I love David Hyde Pierce as a talking stick. Dennis Leary as Francis is fun. Tuck and Roll are the precursors of essentially what Minions would become. But yeah, Bugs Life I think needs to be on this list.
A Bug's Life is on the table. I'm going to go first in this. I like A Bug's Life. This is, but I'm going to give it a slight no, just because I think there is some better movies that should fit out the last 5 spots that we've got. So yeah, Boatman, what do you say about A Bug's Life?
Again, yeah, like this is the same dumb mistake Koho made. You put it in too early for me. Because, like, had you let a couple of these other... Bug's Life is my 13. It's my 13. So had we had the chance to say no to some others, I would have been fine with putting Bug's Life... Like, just one other. But right now, there's still a chance that my entire top 12 can be in there. So I gotta say no, I'm sorry. I like Bug's Life, though. It's still a really good movie.
All right.
So it is down to 2 people left. Koho, what do you say about A Bug's Life?
Hey, Brooklyn.
Hey,
If
Koho.
Inside Out didn't make this would have gone on. Just letting you know.
Of course it would have. Yeah.
Because
Cool.
it's number 13 or 14. What is it? 14. It's number 14. So with Inside Out replacing Cars, I can't quite fit it in yet. It's the same thing that Boatman says, but you know what? I'm going to take my 12 out for you, buddy. I say yes to A Bug's Life.
Which leaves it down to Cody.
Who has to say?
I won't be surprised if he says no.
So there's some things about Americans you need to know. A deal isn't final till there's a signature on the line. So technically, Boatman also said no to Cars, so makes that pretty much null and void. But you used one from my childhood, so Bug's Life, you really didn't need to cash in on this one because Bug's Life definitely makes this list for me. Because one day I'm going to sprout wings and become a beautiful butterfly, yeah. This movie is brilliant. This movie is fun. I just watched it last week. I think Christopher Plummer does a fantastic job as Harper when he got. I think it's a fantastic job that he does. It's honestly like a really dark kids
It
movie,
is.
but it has like the greatest story that if you unite and come together, you can make a difference, and it's brilliant. I always love the scene when Hopper rips off the seeds and goes, "How's one? Oh, that's fine," and he like if they decide to team up, then we're screwed. Like, it's really good, really fun. I don't think you shot it too soon. I think this is actually a pretty good spot for it because now I don't have to say yes to another crap fest that might be brought up later.
But yeah, it's back to me, and I think I'm going to bring up that one Cody was just referring to. I'm going to bring up. To me, I think Up is a fun movie, and I really do enjoy it. Like, well, yes, a lot of people go, "Oh, yeah, the emotional bit at the moment is the best part." For me, I did enjoy the whole movie. And relationship between Russell and Carl is just great throughout the movie. But yeah, Boatman, what do you say about Up?
I really enjoy Up. I don't think it's fantastic. I think there are some people who go nuts for Up. I'm not one of those people. I don't think it's top 10. I do think it's top 12. I think that, yes, it are the like later parts of the movie not as good as those first 10 minutes. Sure. The first 10 minutes are amazing, but the rest of the movie is still really good. I think Carl Fredricksen is a really kind of compelling character. I think you can kind of relate to his kind of depression. I love kind of just seeing him slowly kind of come alive and out of that kind of grumpy state. And, I think, again, it does get a little silly with the dogs, but I think it's also pretty funny with that, so I don't mind it as much. So Up gets a yes from me.
Brooklyn, what do you say about Up?
So I'm gonna get my vote right out of the way. I'm gonna say no. I believe that Pixar has a cooler cousin version of Up. That's better. In the same sense of like, oh, it has a really good opening, and then it's sort of just dress off after that. But yeah, like if you were to count that first 15 minutes, yeah, it's one of the most heartwarming clips or scenes ever. You see the rise and the fall of Carl and what's her name. But yeah, it's gonna be a no.
Koho, what do you say about Up?
Is Carl Fredrickson's arc in Up kind of good and like really compelling? Sure. But the moment you throw in the talking dogs and the colorful bird and all the extra things on top of it, you completely lose me. How this got a Best Picture nomination, I have no idea. This is a no for me.
All right, Cody, tell me why I'm wrong.
Koho, be still my beating heart. I thought this was getting on the list. Up is awful. Up should have made a short, and it would have been brilliant. If it is the entire 8 minutes that rips your heart out, and like he had a vision of Ellie or something, or like he could see a note from her and says, "Take that trip," and then balloons rise and he goes. Brilliant, beautiful. Oh, best short of all time. No, they decided to draw this movie out for an hour and 40 minutes of this weird dogs that talk. This is like the most kid-like a Pixar movie has ever been. Talking dogs, giant bird named Kevin. Just it loses all the magic and heart from the beginning and wears it out over an hour. I think the two characters are fantastic. I think Russell and Carl are fine, but the villains are awful. The dogs are terrible. Squirrel. That got me laughing for the first minute, but when it drags on for the whole movie, I wanted to. Never mind. That will get me in trouble with the ASPCA. But I'm over it. I don't like this movie. Best Picture. People say Toy Story 3 doesn't deserve the Best Picture. Up was. I don't understand that at all. Like, at all.
All right, Boatman, what's your next nomination?
Okay. I don't care that we've got one of these on there. This one also deserves to be on there. It's the original, it's the original Toy Story. I think that it's a fantastic kind of buddy comedy film with the intellectual edge of, seeing, a child growing up from the eyes of his toys. I think that, Woody and Buzz are kind of the classic duo of like the more kind of, kooky one and the more like one who's laced in reality. I think, they play with that duo a lot. And yeah, I mean, it's memorable for a reason. You know all the lines, you know all the quotes. I think Sid is a really actually great villain because he doesn't think he's a villain. He thinks he's just having fun with inanimate objects. Sid does not think he's evil. He's just playing with toys. And I think that's a really fascinating concept for a villain who, yeah, I think Toy Story is kind of brilliant. So, yeah, it deserves a spot on the list.
So the first Toy Story's on the table. I'm getting my vote out the way. I'm just going to say yes. Cody, what do you say about the first Toy Story?
When I always told people when somebody said, "Hey, what's your rank for Pixar?" I said, "Do you include the Toy Story trilogy as one or separate?" Because that changes my list entirely. I think the first Toy Story is brilliant. Don't ever watch it on 4K. I promise you will be haunted because they did not get human beings done right at that time, and it definitely shows. You think Sid was scary when you were like young? It's terrifying now. But this movie, he actually has a really good point. Bowman has a really good point about Sid being like just thinking like he's being destructive. It doesn't realize there's like real thought behind it. I love the Mrs. Nesbit line. I've used it all the time. Like, you are a toy. I am Mrs. Nesbit. And like Woody's part where he's like sitting in the pit and like starts talking to Sid, and like it's pretty scary but awesome. You're like, yeah, rise up. The first Toy Story is brilliant. I love it. So I'm glad you brought this one up before the other one. So I appreciate that. So yeah, Toy Story, the first one, definitely makes it.
And if that Toy Story makes list, Koho, what would you have said?
I think Boatman's point about how it's a good story about the a kid growing up through the eyes of his toys is the story of Toy Story 3, not Toy Story 1. Toy Story 3 is when you see Andy grow up, and I think Toy Story 3 as a whole has more emotional moments that make it more rewatchable. But I think he's completely correct in Sid. In Sid being a great villain, there are great moments of Toy Story. It's on the list, so it doesn't matter what I would have said.
In Brooklyn, what would you have said about Toy Story?
Despite the animation not holding up that well, I completely agree with Cody that not even in 4K, even in UHD, the humans are a little bit scary. But yeah, I mean, like Arlie Ermey as the toy soldiers, and I find that really funny. John Ratzenberger as Piggy, he's the one that I sort of attached to whenever as I watched this throughout my childhood. Just very dynamic and similar to Toy Story 2. It just has that eclectic taste of like there's so many different things that you can get from it. And whenever Woody does meet up with Sid, that is so scary, and that aspect of it still holds up.
Did you say Piggy?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Pam? Sorry. Oops.
And with that, and your winner, not Brooklyn Vale.
That is completely insulting.
But Cody,
hello, beer. My God, you're tasty.
It's back to you for your next nomination.
Gosh, this is tough. Where are we at, 9?
Yeah, we've got 3 spots remaining.
Toy Story 3? I think Toy Story 3 is a surefire compared to what's really left. You get some sequels in there that could be brought up, but I don't think they're better than Toy Story 3 especially. I think Toy Story 3, I'm not fully on board with my client Robert yet, but on rewatches, it doesn't hit me as hard. It hit me hard when I was going off to college, and that made sense. But now I'm just like, they're never going to die in that incinerator. Like, that would be the darkest moment of Pixar history ever if they decide to burn out the entire cast right then and there. There's a lot of emotional elements, and I think the story's fine, but I don't think it's fully fleshed out where it needs to be. Again, I'm excited for 4 now. I wasn't excited for 4. I thought it was an insult because I think this is honestly, for me now, up into How to Train Your Dragon, one of the best trilogies, especially animated, and 3 encapsulates it pretty perfectly. So I will have to put 3 because what else can we put in there? Brave. Ooh.
And Jonathan Peggers actually hit us with a fun fact. The first Toy Story is actually co-written by Joss Whedon, and he was the one that added Rex into the script.
That's true.
But Boatman, what do you say about Toy Story 3?
Yeah, I don't think it's the best of the 3. I think it's probably the weakest of the 3. I think it borrows a lot of the same story elements from Toy Story 2. It's very kind of similar where you have Woody often kind of having to choose between another area and Andy. You have a villain who starts off as nice and like he's going to, care for the toys, and he's a twist villain. And I think Lotso's a lot weaker than Stinky Pete. But that being said, I think it gets the emotional moments down pat. And I think it's still these great characters. Jessie gets a lot of moments to shine. I love the toys in Bonnie's room. I love Bonnie as a character. So yeah, it gets a yes, but it's the weakest of the 3.
Koho, what do you say about Toy Story 3?
I don't think we need all 3 Toy Stories on here. Personally, I think this is the 4th best Pixar sequel. So I'm gonna give it a no because I think that there are at least 2 more sequels that are better that I would rather see get on this list. So whatever.
Brooklyn, what do you say about Toy Story 3?
I do agree with my colleagues in that Toy Story 3 is probably, like, depending on what day you ask me, Toy Story 3 and Toy Story could easily be like the bottom of the trilogy. But I do love Walking Dead, the animated movie. When you look at this compared to Walking Dead, it's eerily similar. Lots of the bear is definitely the governor. But I there are certain parts that I like in here. I love Michael Keaton as Ken. I thought he was great. It caught me off guard. But yeah, I do also agree with Cody in that, like, it's almost like a rewatchability. It's like, yeah, the stakes aren't really there because they're never gonna die. They'll never kill off a Toy Story character. So yeah.
And I would have suggested Toy Story 3. I do think this is a good one. Like, I'm also with Cody that this sums up the trilogy very nicely, but it's going to be interesting to see where this 4th one goes, because from what I've heard from some people who've already seen it, is that it has given a good ending to it still, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But with that, Toy Story 3 makes the list, and Koho, it's back to you.
Cool. So I'm going to nominate what I think is the second best Pixar sequel. I'm going with Incredibles 2. Incredibles 2 does a lot of great things in it reunites us with the family that we loved, but it also gives us a new look at them where it's, hey, we did the thing. We brought supers back, but they don't trust us. And so Elastigirl has to rebuild that trust. I love that that's the person that they pick to rebuild the trust because Mr. Incredible is so reckless. And then we get the awesome stuff where he gets to stay home with Jack Jack, and those are some of the best moments in maybe Pixar. I love that the Jack Jack and Mr. Incredible stuff. I love how we get to see him interact with the kids and be a dad, which is something we didn't get to see him do in the first movie really at all. We get to see him take Violet to that diner to see her crush. And the water out of the nose sequence had me laughing until I was dying in the theater. Sure, you can say whatever you want about Screenslaver, but I think that is a bit of a ballsy villain for Disney to put, considering that it's a villain that is entirely dependent on like a commentary on we are so absorbed in our media and in our phones, yet they're making a Disney Plus streaming service that wants you to do exactly that. So I think that is that's a ballsy move for Disney to make that a villain. Incredibles 2 is incredibly rewatchable. I saw it 4 times in the theater. I'm putting Incredibles 2 on the list.
Yeah, no, I mean, I disagree with Koho that Incredibles 2 is the best sequel that Pixar's done. I do think it's a good sequel, but regardless, I'm going to say yes because there's a Pixar movie I'm pretty sure will come up eventually that I don't want on this list. But Boatman, what do you say about The Incredibles 2?
Yeah, I'm giving a yes to Incredibles 2. I think it's the dynamics of like the family elements and all that's there in the first one, and it still really works. Especially Jack Jack's really great. And I think I like how the entire family gets more attention in this one, where in The Incredibles it's more of the Mr. Incredible show and his family's more sprinkled in there, whereas everyone kind of has equal time in Incredibles 2. I really like that because I think all those characters are really great, so I'm glad that they all have time to shine. My one issue is the villain. I think that it was a really weak twist for the villain. I think that, Catherine Keener's a good voice, but it was kind of an obvious villain, and then once she's revealed, it's like, okay, you're not really that intimidating. You kind of suck. But I think based on what's left, like had Up made it in, I probably would have said no. But yeah, I'm giving yes to Incredibles 2.
And with that Incredibles 2 makes list, Cody, what would you have said?
Meh. I don't think it's super rewatchable. I've watched it once. As somebody that watched the first one and wanted a sequel so bad very disappointed. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just it didn't live up to 14 years of hype. And some may have not had to deal with 14 years of hype, but I had to deal with 14 years of hype or whatever. And it just was like, what? This is what you do? Syndrome was the perfect villain, and not to have one of the a villain to equal or be close to hurt to me. I think the characters are great, but the characters were great in the first one. I just don't think the story was well thought out. So, is it top 12? Yes, because there are some of this that I definitely don't want on, and I'm okay with this one, and I'm hoping to God the other sequel does not make this list. But this is the one I'm okay with. So yeah.
Brooklyn, what would you have said about Incredibles 2?
Once again, I think this is also because Cody and I are the same age. Incredibles 2 is very bad. You even throw in Bob Odenkirk. Whenever I heard his voice, I'm like, shit, they got him. And I really like his character, and I like the way his character goes. But yeah, it's not. I actually probably my least favorite part of it is how they use Elastigirl. I find she's very used. It's like, oh, we're gonna let you bring superheroes to the top just so that we can crush you down again. Just it's very, very oxymoronic and very counterproductive in the whole thing. So yeah, would have gotten a slight yes.
But Brooklyn, it's back to you. What is your next nomination?
All right, so I mentioned the film that I consider Up's cooler cousin, and that cooler cousin is WALL-E. WALL-E. I mean, obviously, that first 20 minutes of non-dialogue, I think that's cool. This is definitely Pixar's most like artsy sort of independent film. I think that next like hour-ish of like how it's like, oh, consumerism is going to kill us, and how we're just going to be big flat slobs. I think that's probably the best commentary that we have gotten in the last 10, 12-ish years. But yeah, I think this is one that needs to be on here, and it'll probably be the bottom beater.
Yes, I've got a lot to say on this, but I'm going to save myself for last. Boatman, what do you say about WALL-E?
Yeah, I think based on what's left, WALL-E's the best option. I think I'm basically on the same page with Brooklyn, where the first 20 minutes are like brilliant. Just very, very little dialogue. Just this cute kind of robot love story between WALL-E and Eve. It's great, and I love it. Then once you get on the ship, it's like, yeah, this is kind of good sci-fi. Like, it's good. It's not amazing. I do think it's better than Up, but so yes, it gets a yes. It's good.
Sorry, that was funny.
Koho, what do you say about WALL-E?
I love that he sat there with Up. It was like, the dogs are great, the bird is great. Then we get to WALL-E. He's like, it's just okay when we get to the second half of the ship. Literally, Up and WALL-E are like the same movie. It's just one's in space, one's on Earth, and both have a great start in the weekend.
I mean, fair.
But
No,
WALL-E,
better than Up. I'm just tired.
I enjoy WALL-E more than Up. If we have to put something on the list, I'm okay with it being WALL-E. I like one other movie that's out there more, but I don't know if that'll even get a chance to get on the list. I'm saying no. Fuck it. Why not? No WALL-E.
Cody, what do you say about WALL-E?
I hate this movie. Like, I know I have to own it to complete my Pixar, but it's one of the ones I'm missing, and I don't care. Like, I love certain movies more than this. I know I'm gonna tick off so many people. Like, so many people. Nazario, maybe Paul. There's so many people that I'll piss off with this. I just don't have the energy or the love for this movie to even get it close to a top 12. I will probably never watch it again. I don't like it. The first 20 minutes people say is brilliant. I fall asleep more than anything during it. I can't stand it. It's terrible. I think this movie is made for some people. Like, I feel like if you say WALL-E's yours, good, have it. It's not mine. It will never be mine. It's what the movie's about, trash.
Cody, I'm gonna warn you. If you say no and it doesn't get on, there's a good chance Cars 3 might get on.
That's not the one I'm bringing up.
3.
That's not the
Okay,
one I was gonna bring up.
I'm going yes.
Okay,
Give me
good.
Wally.
Well, if that Wally does make the list,
Cody is finally grasping the concept that there has to be bottom feeders. They're not all top 5. There has to be ones in the bottom.
You know what? I wanted Monsters University.
That was the one I was going to nominate.
But I didn't think there was going to be enough traction, so I passed off. Cars 3 scared me.
That's literally the one I was going to nominate.
I was literally going to nominate it on my next.
Oh my god, Cody! You should have just trusted me.
Because my response, Wally was the one I absolutely did not want on this list.
Damn it, Cody.
My response would have been the great Michael Scott gif of no, 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 please, God damn, no.
Actually, no, God, please, no. No.
Let's just not quote anything else from The Office, okay?
But
What's wrong with The Office?
But anyway, it took me about 2 days to watch Wally for the in its entirety. I fell asleep each time I had to try and remember where I'd finished watching it. Yeah, I really don't. But yeah, with that being said, we've got our 12, which is The Incredibles, Monsters Inc., Inside Out, Finding Nemo, Ratatouille, Toy Story 2, Coco, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 1, Toy Story 3, The Incredibles 2, and Wall-E. But now we get to the fun part of actually ranking the list. I would go to honorable mentions, but I mean, there's not really a lot to kind of say.
Can we talk about the
Monsters University?
We can talk about
Monsters
Monsters University. Someone can.
I like Carson.
I have a super bold strategy on this one. It's going to either pay off or I'm going to get so much hate. We'll see.
But yeah, Cody,
go to me last.
I know what you wrote on your thing, and
Boatman, what do you have for 12?
I have A Bug's Life.
Koho, what do you have for 12?
Wally.
Brooklyn, what do you have for 12?
Ratatouille.
Yep. Here we go.
No.
Oh, Wally.
Yeah, and Cody's got Ratatouille.
It was a bold strategy. It didn't pay off because Boatman will never put it there, but I put Ratatouille. Just because I figured you guys would have it really high, and I didn't want it taken over the top spot. So I had to. So
Boatman, Wally or Ratatouille?
I wonder.
Yeah, no, I'm going with Wall-E is going to be number 12 over the best Pixar movie. Oh, you and I need to work together on this.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you.
Shut your
Don't
mouth.
worry. You and Brooklyn are including me, and Boatman will include.
No,
How's
we're
that?
not.
Yeah, you are.
I just
Okay,
put it
so
down.
Koho, we're on the same.
It's so weird to hear Cody and Brooklyn agree on stuff.
Malcolm, just take this bullet. Help us.
No, Malcolm, don't be intimidated by Cody's bullying. Do what you want.
Oh, the person that messaged everybody in the chat and said, "Hey, please, let's Cars on there, and we'll let it be a thing."
I mean, he never
Y'all
messaged
got me down, though.
He never asked me to put Cars on the list.
Yeah, because I figured you didn't like it or you hadn't seen it, and I was correct.
Boatman, what do you say about what's
Okay.
the 11?
Koho, we're on the same page, right? A Bug's Life?
Cody, what do you have for 11?
Ratatouille.
Koho,
A Bug's Life.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, we're dying on the sale of Ratatouille.
I put one of those two, and it is A Bug's Life.
Oh,
Yes!
thank God.
I just want something clear. I didn't expect Bug's Life to be like top 5. I just feel like it deserves to be in the 12.
That's how I felt with Cars.
I mean, it's
No.
one that I like a lot of the Pixar movies that's in my list, I do actually enjoy. A Bug's Life, I think's probably the one that, because it's the first one. No, it's the second one, but I think it has aged quite a bit as well. So,
Hey, Bowman, where are you going?
No collusion here. No
Sure.
coaching. This is not a
changed-
game
I'll
there,
be
little
honest,
Cody
I'll be
Newberries.
honest, I changed my vote. I will be 100% honest. I did change my vote.
Okay, then I'm just.
Fair enough.
Because at this point, if it didn't get there, I'm okay with it being there. I just don't believe it's number one. That's
yeah.
my opinion.
Boatman, what do you have for 10?
Wait, okay. Incredibles 2.
Oh shit.
Cody, what do you have for 10?
Incredibles 2. That made sense. I
Coho.
was gonna.
Toy Story 3.
Okay.
Brooklyn.
I will die on this hill in this round 2.
And I put Coco. But Incredibles 2 is going to be 10.
Fair enough.
What?
What?
No, him trying to put Coco on the list.
Oh, I'm not shocked. He said it's overrated, but then voted for something else. I can't remember. So, okay. Up.
Up's not on this list.
I know he nominated Up. And
No, I thought
Coco.
Bowman nominated Up, didn't he? Oh no, he did nominate Up. That's
I-
disgusting. You're right. You're right. That's disgusting. That's disrespectful.
Boatman, what do you have for 9?
I'm going with Toy Story 3.
Cody.
Sorry, I didn't get it down in time. But I was going to do Toy Story 3. But I have nothing.
Coho.
Toy Story 3.
Brooklyn.
Still dying.
And I'm dying on this one as well. So,
All right. Well, Cody, Boatman, and I control this list now. Thanks, guys.
hey, I agreed with you.
I'm really upset with Brooklyn not adding things to it this time. Like that's my favorite thing about this entire show. Can you just say things on top of it? Because that's what I would appreciate. Like it's literally my favorite thing from the show. How about Ratatouille?
Now I feel like whatever I put down, I'm betraying an amazing movie.
Hey, hold your board up. No one needs to see it.
Sorry.
We see it. Can we have hands in frame, please? No cheating.
No hidden.
Brooklyn, what do you have for 8?
How about fucking Ratatouille, you American hosers?
Boatman, what do you have for 8?
I am so sorry. I love this movie, Coco.
What?
You fucking prick.
Cody, what do you have for 8?
Ratatouille.
Oh my god, no.
Coho, what do you have for 8?
I said Inside Out. We're fine.
I had Kiora. It's Coco.
Oh my fucking god. I hate my life, but I gotta go Coco.
What?
I gotta put Coco at 8. Oh my god.
right.
Oh my god. I hate that I just did that. Fuck.
Time to change my answer again because apparently it's not time yet.
I hate that Coco's that fucking low. That's
I can't
disgusting.
wait to
Malcolm, I
what you
hate
say
you.
next.
God.
It's what yeah.
I gotta go with whatever I think is gonna go next, because at this point it's just a game of trying to keep what I want higher.
Sorry, just a second here, guys. Sorry.
Is he trying to add you fucking hosiers to his screen, or what's happening?
No, I got a text.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I
Boatman,
thought you were changing it to like, you fucking nerdy American hosiers Ratatouille. Toronto is great.
Boatman, what do you
Half-second
have for 7?
Again, I hate that I'm putting this at 7, but Finding Nemo.
Are you serious?
Cody.
Who? Ratatouille.
Oh my god.
I'm
Coho.
trying for Finding Nemo. I have to put
Inside Out.
Brooklyn.
We're still dying on this hill.
Ratatouille.
Well, you can stop dying. I also put.
Oh my
Ratatouille.
god.
Thank you.
Well, it's not. What could I have
The
done? They all three
the-
go Ratatouille.
The hipsters will not rejoice. The hipsters will not rejoice.
Ratatouille is wildly regarded by critics as the best Pixar. It's got a
Well,
90%
as my
on-
great grandfather used to say, "Wish in one hand, shit in the other. See which one fills up first."
Sir, you are
That's
the hipster in
disgusting.
this scenario.
Can you stop
Thanks.
crapping in your
Stop!
hands?
Stop shitting in your hands, Grandpa.
God damn it. This is disgusting. Ratatouille at 7. Jesus. And Coco at 8.
Man, Coco at 8. Yeah, Coco at 8 is
Coco
more
at
is
8
a more
and Ratatouille
crime.
at 7 are disgusting.
Boatman, what do you have for 6?
I love this movie, Finding Nemo.
Coleman, get off this call.
Cody, what do you have for 6?
I may not think it's pretentious, but please don't kill me. Inside Out.
No.
Koho, what do you have for 6?
Inside Out.
No,
Brooklyn, what do you have for 6?
you got a friend in me. Toy Story.
Oh my god.
No.
I can't tie it. I put Monsters Inc.
Dang.
But
Bam, baby.
Inside Out is going to be 6.
Congratulations, Coho. You got the last fucking laugh.
Good. Fucking Ratatouille. Coco
I'm
are still
I'm
lower.
glad that you now play this like a game, similar to the person to your right.
The person to my right is Malcolm. No,
Sorry,
Boatman.
the person.
My
The person
immediate
to
right is Boatman.
the person to my right is one Cody Newberry. So I'm congratulations that you play this like a game now.
I'll kiss you later, beautiful.
Thank you. It's been a long weekend.
But Boatman, what do you have for 5?
I'm changing up my style because I actually like Finding Nemo more than this movie, but I figured it wasn't going to get off. Monsters Inc.
Your whole
What?
board just
What are we
disintegrated.
living in?
Caleb Boatman broke his board with that. Cody.
We got a 23-19. That's definitely not on my board. Toy Story, the first one.
Koho.
Toy Story, the first one.
Brooklyn.
You got a friend in me.
No, you don't. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, I had Monsters Inc.
You're wrong. Cool.
Well, clearly because Toy Story is going to be 5.
You right.
What's left? Sorry. Okay.
Some of the folks might be a little
We've got
bit
Toy
smarter
Story
than I
2, Monsters Inc.
I got it. It's Incredibles, Finding Nemo, Monsters Inc., and Toy Story 2. Right?
Yeah.
Cool.
am. In this one, I gotta go this decision. I love this movie, but I'm okay with top.
But Boatman, what do you have for 4?
Monsters Inc.
That's stupid.
Cody.
Finding Nemo.
Koho.
Monsters Inc.
Okay.
Brooklyn.
Finding Nemo.
Monsters Inc.
There we go.
We
I
created
mean,
a
I'm,
pet.
okay. I'm literally okay with the top 4. It's not. I'm not upset with any of these at this point. All the ones that are in the top 5, I consider top 5 movies. So, okay. You guys just hate Billy Crystal and John Goodman, so whatever.
I've got to go off this as much as it hurts.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Got to find a little tenderness.
Man, I love Shrek 3.
Boatman, what do you have? What do you have for 3?
Finding Nemo.
It's called a joke, Coho.
I know.
Cody, what do you have for 3?
Well, I'm glad it wasn't Finding Dory, but it's Finding Nemo.
Koho, what do you have for 3?
Toy Story 2.
Brooklyn, what do you have for 3?
150, dude. It's still young.
Escape!
I also had Toy Story 2, but it doesn't matter because Finding Nemo is going to be 3.
Oh.
All right, so now we write what we want for number 1.
I mean, literally.
That is correct.
This community, I'm really not surprised with the people that will vote this as number 1. I disagree, but with this community, I'm not surprised.
That means my number 3.
But
Right?
Boatman, what do you want for number 1?
I kind of changed my mind here. I'm going with Toy Story 2 for number 1.
Oh, you fucker.
Ooh.
Cody, what do you have for number 1?
When somebody
Koho,
loves
what do
me.
you have for number 1?
Ba-dum-bum-ba-da. Incredibles.
Brooklyn, what do you have for number 1?
I put le titre en français, Les Incroyables.
Yeah.
I swore
Now
you
we're
would
down
with
to
me.
a tie. Well,
You literally just put Toy Story 2 as your 3.
Yeah, we know. We know you have Incredibles on your board. Just show it. Don't
Here.
Just flip the board.
we will
board, Malcolm.
we will find out after these messages. We're back from these messages, and I put the Incredibles.
Man, what a slow roll.
It's literally a comic book based community. Why wouldn't that be the number 1?
It's for me. It was actually a tough decision. Like I do like Toy Story 2, but
You put Toy Story 2 at 3. It wasn't a hard decision between 1 and 3. I don't believe your fakeness, Malcolm.
You and Ben Bateman need to go find a room and discuss why you think slow rolling is a great thing and a fucking movie trivia thing. Jesus Christ, you people annoy me.
I love it.
But Brooklyn created a perfect transition into what's coming up. But first, I'm going to recap our top 12. At 12, we've got Wall-E. At 11, we've got A Bug's Life. At 10, we've got The Incredibles 2. At 9, we've got Toy Story 3. At 8, we've got Coco. At 7, we've got Ratatouille. At 6, we've got Inside Out. At 5, we've got Toy Story. At 4, we've got Monsters, Inc. At 3, we've got Finding Nemo. At number 2, we had Toy Story 2. And at number 1, we had The Incredibles. Now, what Brooklyn helped with my transition by bringing up Ben Bateman and the Schmodown. Next week is the 50th episode of Rankum, so I thought I'd do something special and do a redux of the very first Rankum episode, which was top 12 Schmodown competitors of all time. So I've got everyone name down who said they wanted to be in it. But first, Koho, Brooklyn, you haven't actually said you want to be in it. Do you want to be on the wheel?
Sure. Put my name on the
Sure.
wheel.
Why not? Why not?
I have terrible luck. Why not?
No, I have terrible luck. Movie Battleground, I'm the champion over there. They did 3 brackets, and I am not in any of them. But JD West got on there 3 times.
Yikes.
Oh, I mean, am I still champion, though? Find out.
Well, the match would have dropped earlier this morning, so
That's true.
it's a great match. You should all watch it. But
That's
the
something.
panel for next week, the wheel is spinning,
Who's on?
and Koho is going to be on it.
What?
I'm gonna punch some
Sick.
freaking.
That's great. I'm
ceiling.
excited. I'm on. Cool.
Well, let's all hear it for.
And Ryan Permison is going to be
Oh,
on it.
fuck. I don't want to be on this list anymore. No, I'm kidding. I'll stay.
I run 1,000 miles again.
Cody is going to be on it.
Oh, let's go, Cody!
Fine.
And Boatman is going to be on it.
Oh, we're just doing the same thing. Sorry, Brooklyn. We're just replacing you with
Brooklyn,
someone that we hate. That's
All around me are familiar faces.
Hey, when
But
are we
yeah,
getting the jukebox playlist of Elton John?
Sooner rather than later. Don't worry, I'll do my top 10 Canadian showdown competitors, which is like maybe 3 people.
Campia!
God.
Campia, Ashley B. Robinson, and the kid. They're the
Oh,
only
God.
3 Canadians.
That's a rough pool of people to pick. There's a clear.
What about
Listen,
Janine's Canadian?
Isn't Edmund Canadian?
Is she Canadian?
Janine's Canadian.
Oh, Janine is Canadian.
From what province?
I don't know.
I'll have to ask.
Yeah,
Find
Huh,
out
interesting.
next week if she makes the list.
But yeah, the panel is set for next week. And it's going to be a lot of fun because I know we've all got a lot of different takes when it comes to Schmodown competitors. But yeah, and
This is all time, not season 6, just all time.
of all time, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, here we go.
But yeah, let's find out where we can find everyone. Boatman, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Multiplex movie Warzone. We're in the middle of the singles tournament. It's going really well. Watch that. I run that with Cody over there and Brian Michaels, and then watch all the stuff on Multiplex. Kaleb Koho doesn't do a terrible job with fandom.
Thank you.
Cody, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Basically nowadays, over at Multiplex, I help the guys run a lot of things over there. I also have my own show called Your List Sucks. This week is top 10 Pixar characters. So it's going to be a very heated battle of finding out which is really bad. Boatman's on that list, Maggie Berkala and Robert Parker. So tune in to see how that will all shake out. It should get quite heated.
So Mate is going to make all top 12 spots, isn't it?
I'm a Cards fan, and I think that's disgusting.
Koho, where can people find you online?
Yeah, I'm over at Multiplex Entertainment. I run Fandom Fight. We are gearing up for the Summer Series tournament. We have 2 team matches left to put out before we start that. That'll be starting before the singles, and that'll be going pretty rapid speed. I think we're hoping to get the first episodes up this week. So just stay tuned over there. We've got a lot of fun things coming up.
And Brooklyn, where can people find you online?
Right here on Take 3, running not one but 1.5 shows. Jukebox Trivia on Mondays. We're starting up Dance Off very soon, but we have another Iron Man match to do, the 80s hair metal match featuring Sandy Robinson, Rob Clark, and DJ Snacks of the Discord League 3 Face-Off League. He's hopping in, making his Jukebox debut, and then on Leno Take 3, hosting whenever I can. And on Multiplex, doing the after show, having some fun-ish games. Usually takes a couple weeks for games to get to where they need to be, but yeah. Oh, and Nerdgasm returned. 2 matches start on Saturday. Tim versus Jim and Nazaria versus Ryan, and then the movie Battleground Championship match where Cody and I duke it out. That's very heated-ish.
And you can find me pretty much doing everything these days. I'm on Take 3 hosting Rank every Sunday night. Next week, Schmodown competitors. I'm hosting Full Metal Random every Tuesday. This week is the big Godfather match between Michael Campbell and Kurt Kowalski. You can also find me helping Tim Smith with TV Showdown over on Multiplex. Coming in August, I think the first matches are going to drop is you can find me doing late TV fights, which is pretty TV debate league that is going to as a spin-off of Movie Battleground. So that's going to be a lot of fun, coming up with a lot of questions. And yeah, and until next week, keep listing shit.